I was reading an article yesterday on Yahoo, and I will post the link to the article here in the description of this video. And in the article, they were talking about what is causing the food prices to rise and what is causing gas prices to rise. When I come to the conclusion of any time that the media starts talking about a topic, it's so far gone that they can no longer hide it. Shalom, it's following Yeshua. Welcome again to the Rock. You watch movies, you watch, any sort of, movies in Hollywood. And I don't watch a lot of them, but the ones that I do watch, I watch them for the message. I don't watch movies necessarily for entertainment. I watch them for the message. What are they saying? And if you watch a lot of movies, you'll always see that the system always tries to hide what is happening until they no longer can hide it. You watch those movies like Deep Impact or 2012, or I think it was 2012. Movies like that. And what happens is the system or the government or the powers that be know what is going on, and they always warn their people. And then once it can no longer be hidden, then they let the people, the general populace, know. So when I read that article, I started to think, well, the fact that they're saying that the fact that they are acknowledging that food prices are rising and gas prices are rising is almost not because they are trying to warn or help the people, not at all. But it's getting to a point now where they can no longer hide the inflation. They can no longer hide the problems that have come from the zombie plague. They can no longer hide, even for the most unaware person. You look at the shelves and you notice the prices are rising. You notice the shelves in a lot of stores today are becoming bare. You remember when this whole crisis hit, I made the statement that this is going to be the new normal. It's going to be the new normal to go to your grocery store shelf and see it's not fully packed. Well, they're saying, the food chain has been disrupted, and the freezes, and, there hasn't been as much global, shipment trade and all that. Well, why is the question? Why is this happening? I also made a mention, if you've been on my channel for any amount of time, a year and a half ago, I said, I believe, and this is just me putting out an idea, I believe that we are getting to the end of the 70 years of plenty. And then I feel that we are coming into the 7 years of famine, metaphorically speaking. Maybe not 7 years, but you know what I'm saying. And now they're talking about, I read another article talked about, freezes. The freeze that the country was under did a destructive job to the food and agricultural system to feed. The feed that I buy for my chickens. I am making my own feed this year. I don't know if it's going to be enough to feed all my chickens, but I am growing my own feed this year. But the feed price had gone up $1 overnight. Overnight. I know people that said that, lady said, there was an article, she fell asleep, took a nap in the middle of the day, woke up and went to go get gas, and the gas had risen 10 cents. So your dollar is eroding. The dollar's eroding. Here's my idea. I think things are worse than what they're letting on. I think things are, I said thongs. Still thinking about my video from yesterday. Oh gosh, okay. I think things are getting worse and are worse than they're actually letting on. They're only letting you know what they can no longer hide. But what is the truth behind all this? The truth behind all this, and this is just a theory that I'm posing, is that they know that things are going to get catastrophically worse. They have people, what did Bruce Willis say in the movie Armageddon? I know you got a room of people just thinking shit up. I know you got people just thinking shit up. And they do. They have those big think tanks, and they have, they have these groups that, that study and learn how to sway the attention span and how to sway the opinions and the thoughts of people, not just in this country, but in this world, whether it be religiously, spiritually, economically, health-wise, medically, whatever way they want to sway the minds of the people. They got rooms where people just think shit up. So I think that what we're seeing now is a continued distraction. They're letting out a little bit of information at a time. The reason why I say prepare, and that's the thing about, the Watchmen, when the book of Ezekiel talks about. The Watchman is able to look ahead and see things, and he sounds the trumpet well before it is not being a prophet. It's not a prophecy. It's just some people are gifted with the ability to look ahead and see things. The Bible talks about the gifts of the Spirit. So some people are gifted in just looking ahead and seeing things. And they warn. So some things are just trends. You can look at trends within this the cycle of humanity. Look in the Bible. Famines were a notorious thing. Abraham moved many times because of famine. Famines have oftentimes caused a migration of people from one area to the next, from one area where there wasn't rain or an area where there was drought. They would leave those areas and go to the areas where there was water. In the time of Joseph, famine. In the time of Ruth, famine. So there's always been famines on this earth. It's not a new thing. It may be new to more first world countries that have to deal with it, but famines are not a new thing. Droughts are not a new thing. For some people, they experienced drought in a very weird way. And what I mean by that are those in Texas, there was water all around them. It was just all frozen. Pipes bursted. There was water everywhere. It's just all frozen. And when you don't have the ability, or they had the ability, they just didn't know how to. When people don't know how to heat water, melt water, clean water, filter water, and I'm not talking about life straw filtering water. I'm talking about filtering water for the size of a family. I see a lot of people talk about the life straw. Yeah, I have life straws. I think they're great tools. I don't think life straws are great tools of purifying, the amount of water you would need to feed your family or to water, get water for your family. But I digress. So the media is pumping out this idea. You read in the article, and they're saying that the food prices will rise. There's an economist or some expert, quote unquote expert, that said that food prices are going to rise for the next year to year and a half, which means next 5 years. Just go ahead and say it. The next 3 to 5 plus years. They always give you the information to pacify you when they can no longer hide it. When they can't hide the information anymore, they either try to extremely fear you in the things, in the making moves, this, that, or the other, or the guy killed somebody with an automatic pistol. And you're looking at it, and the guy had a, Phoenix Arm HP-22. You're like, that's not an automatic pistol. Or he had an automatic rifle 15. That's not what AR-15 stands for. From what I remember, it was Armalite. I didn't know it meant automatic rifle, assault rifle. It's an assault rifle. So you see how they fear you? When they want to sway the minds of the people, and those that don't know are going to read it. That's the thing. That's what I'm talking about even with religion right now. Those that don't know anything any different are going to watch that news article and say, an AR-15, it stands for automatic rifle 15, until somebody comes and tells you, no, it doesn't. It's the same thing with this faith right now. People are doing shit in this faith right now, have no clue what they're doing. They think that they're following Yah, because they read it or somebody told them, this is what this means right here. And they have no clue, actually. They actually have no clue what any of it stands for. They have no clue what this Bible stands for. They have no clue that they're being bamboozled or led astray. I digress again. So the media is spinning this thing, and it's pumping fear. In certain instances, in other instances, it's pumping a complacency. Hey, don't worry, we'll take care of you. Don't worry about what's happening. We'll take care of you. We'll make sure that we give you your stimulus checks, which is what's causing the prices to rise, because we're pumping, trillions of dollars into the economy that's dead. And for those of you who don't know history, when a system starts pumping money like this to take care of its citizens like this, what you end up having are slaves. Because in order to get said money, you have to give more and more of your freedoms away. Because they're going to determine who the ones are qualified and who the ones that aren't qualified to have these governmental services. This country has already shown that. All in all, I hope you are preparing. I hope you are getting food together. I hope you are seeing this and again, I'm gonna post the article and not closing your eyes and saying, well, things will get better. I hope you're really understanding where this thing is going. How far the snowball has to go before it stops. Because people are going to suffer. And they're not going to suffer because they didn't know. They're going to suffer because they did know and they didn't do anything about it. We've been talking about this for years. Many channels have been talking about this for years. Bear Independent. We've been talking about food preservation. Pastor Fox. Grim Survival. There's been many people who have talked about this. We've talked about Pastor Dow, myself, many people, both Hebrews and strangers, who have been talking about food preservation, growing a garden, doing the best you can with where you are. Not using that as an excuse to stay where you are, but just doing the best you can where you are. Because it's all coming down. It's all coming down. This system is becoming more and more controlled. And they're just letting you know. They're just giving you a little bit of information, letting you know, hey, look out for food prices rising and gas prices rising. Yeah, so what they're basically saying is food and energy. So look forward to food and energy prices rising. And we're in a time where you already can't afford. Most people can't afford to pay their bills. Most people can't afford to eat. How are food prices going to rise? And there are reports all over this country right now of food insecurity, and people can't get access to food, and food prices are rising. Do you see where this is going? I'm gonna close out this video with this. There's an auction house that I go to, and they were saying that some of the meat goats, the boars, boar meat goats, and the Kikos, and even some of the I know specifically for goats because I know the owner of the auction, and he told me, or he sent me a message and let me know that the prices of meat goats have risen over $1. Over $1. Basically, they've risen 25% per pound for these goats. Over $1 per pound. So you're buying a goat that has 70 pounds on it, you're already looking at spending another $70 for the same goat you could have gotten 6 months ago, a year ago, for $1 less. And those that are selling because they can't afford to feed them. It's become too expensive for them to feed their goats. So they're having to cut down their herds, but they're making a killing by selling them. So that just goes to show you that it's affecting everybody. This crisis is affecting everybody. It's not even a crisis anymore. It seems to be this way of life. It's affecting everybody. I hope you're ready for this. I hope your mind is ready for this. I hope your heart is ready for this. And I hope you're making the physical moves that are going to put you in the position to at least eat, at least have a roof over your head and eat. The Bible says, in the Apocrypha, just a mean cottage. Some of you might start looking at what that means for you to have a mean cottage. Somewhere to lay your head, be comfortable, or somewhat comfortable. Be at least secure in your environment. And grow some damn food. Have some chickens. Do something that's going to allow you to be self-sustainable instead of relying continuously on this system, on this media who is sending you warnings. Shit, when the system starts sending you warnings, things are jacked up. Whether it be, the food supply system was jacked up, or the trucks are stopped, or the ports are clogged, or they couldn't, the fields are not able to grow, or whatever it may be. Things are so temperamental. Things are so unstable that many people are going to be forced to build their houses, their food houses, their financial houses on sand and not on a stable foundation, the rock. Not being here, but, whether it be the Bible, Yeshua HaMashiach, or just operating in information that you can do something about instead of waiting until the end. Sorry for kind of going on in this video. I'm feeling it even stronger than I've ever had before. Take a look at the article and just understand whatever they say, it's probably worse than that. Bless y'all. Shalom.